Oh, G Funky Boxing. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. Don't forget to do that. I'm being joined by a friend of ours, Ezra Boxing. What's going on, bro?
Oh man, I'm glad to be on. There's a lot to talk about. It's a great week to be on, and yeah, I'm excited.
It is, man. It's a lot has gone on in the last couple of days. We had controversy with the fight last Saturday. We got a big announcement that we're going to talk about here shortly. And then we're going to also talk about a few things about scoring and stuff like that when it comes to scoring fights, because there's been a lot of shit going around, man. A lot of shit, not just on Twitter, but here on the YTBC. People saying that they value this over that when it comes to scoring, but we're going to talk all about it, man. But right now, I want to say what's up to some people who are punctual in the chat. All right. Drummond for life. He says, all right, G, this should be a good one. Oh, it is going to be a good one. Oh, and big shout out to my man here, Boxing Gyms Film Study. Really one of the great channels that's left in the YTBC. There's not a whole lot. But guys, if you have not seen this guy's channel, make sure you check him out, man. Great film studies over there, and you'll learn a lot. DJ Mexicano de Tejas is here. What's up, brother? Appreciate all you guys. Don't forget to hit the like button on the way in. But quickly, Ezra. Hey, what's up to my man Round One as well? It just popped up. But I want to know your thoughts, man. It seems like it's official. I did some talking behind the scenes with some people that I trust that are close to the situation. They're telling me it's a green light. So, what are your thoughts, brother?
I just want to make sure that Earl Spence gets all the credit in the world for making this fight. So when a fight's usually made, there's usually a guy that makes it, and there's a guy that takes it. Terrence Crawford took the fight. Earl Spence made the fight. He went out of his way to make the fight. He delayed his career to make the fight. He told everyone, I wasn't going to fight Keith Thurman. I'm not going to fight this man. I'm going to fight Terrence Crawford. And that's what he did. And he had people, even his own fans at the end, were turning against him. They say, you know what? This guy's wasting our time and he's wasting his career. They turned against him. Everyone turned against him. Everyone thought he was being made a fool of. But he had really wanted the one fight that was the most important of his career, will probably be the most important of his career going forward. This is the fight he wanted. This is the one he knew the people really wanted. He knew that they were frustrated at him. They knew that that dealing with Crawford is not the easiest process. And I understand Crawford's side of it too. It's not his team that's working the deal out. You know what I mean? It's something new to him as far as that. But I just got to give credit to Earl Spence for making this fight. He really wanted this fight. It's finally going to happen. I'm excited. I know everybody was kind of down on it because it's just of all like is it will they or won't they type of thing. But it's happening now, and I already know. I can already feel the buzz.
Me too, man. Especially with like all the hardcores out there, man, who trashed this fight for years. I'm seeing tweets, people like, hey, I got my room booked and all this type of shit, So yeah, let's cut the bullshit, man. You guys are ready for this fight, just like we were, and I am excited for it, man, because it's a very good styles matchup. Predictions are going to be all over the place. I can't wait to break it down myself, man. I mean, we're gonna be talking a whole lot about this, but I'm definitely excited. I'm gonna try to make it out to Vegas if I can for this one. Um, it's a big fight, man, and boxing really needs more of these fights, man. And this year has been huge, Ezra. Huge, man.
It,
I mean, we
people
had
people are forgetting we're only at the half. We're only going to be at the basically a little bit past the halfway point when Crawford
yeah,
and Spence is done. Like
yep,
that's just the halfway point of everything we've been going through. That's
yep.
crazy.
We just had an undisputed fight this Saturday. We had Plant and Benavidez finally get it on a couple months ago. I mean, shit, we got Josh Taylor, Teofimo Lopez coming up. July is looking to be beautiful, man. We got the Stantionis, Ortiz Jr., Fulton versus Inoue, and then we got Crawford Spence, another undisputed matchup. I mean, potentially in the fall, we could see Canelo versus Benavidez, which I'm hoping,
You know,
Samson is staying true to his word after the interview I got with him a couple months ago, where he said, that's our goal. We're going to go after Canelo. We're going to make an offer. Sounds like that's what they're doing. I'm hoping to hear an announcement soon as well. From that, could be a huge fucking year, man. Not to mention Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia that did over a million
exactly.
pay-per-view buys, man.
And it's not just a big year for just hardcore fans. It's a big year, like, commercially for boxing. That's the thing that people, I know, we sometimes hardcores, they get, there's a lot of hipsters in boxing, a lot of hardcore fans and all that, and they get a little bit too passionate about the guys that don't sell. But you got to give credit when the sport is selling. That's very important on the growth of the sport, on the future of the sport, and the sport is selling right now in a big way, and that's really, really good sign. And I wanted to point out that the same week that Fulton Inouye is going to happen on a Tuesday, that same Saturday, you will see Spence Crawford. That's an insane week of boxing. An
That is
insane week
beautiful,
of
isn't
boxing.
it?
Yeah,
That is
you
just
can't ask for more.
beautiful.
You can't ask for
Yep.
more than that.
Yeah, if you're a hardcore, man, that's what it's all about. And you guys know this channel is very pro boxing. I want what's best for the sport. I want it to be healthy. But with that being said, a few more people showing up. The GOAT Mario P, Izzy B DeVoe. What's up, guys? But with that being said, we've seen a lot of with the controversy in the fight, Devin Haney versus Vasily Lomachenko last Saturday. There's been a lot of people going to social media, mostly celebrities, saying that they're done with the sport. This is why I don't watch boxing. They're not getting another penny from me. Blah blah blah. Right? I have a feeling with some of these fights that we just read off, these motherfuckers gonna be back. All right.
Yeah.
but anywho, Ezra, tell me if you agree with me on this, man. People are, and look, I want to say this first. I'm not trying to police anybody's channel, okay? Please don't take it that way. You can come on here and scream robbery and pound your fist against the wall all you want, okay? If that's what you want to do. I just don't think that that's productive. For me, I say this. I know that there's a lot of people that feel Lomachenko won the fight. I scored it for Lomachenko. Did you score it for Lomachenko, Ezra?
I scored it for Lomachenko.
Okay, yeah. But all close fights. I had it 7-5. Could have been a draw. I did have one swing round. Could have been a draw on my card. I know a lot of people said that as well. So I know that there's the section of people that are crying robbery or saying robbery. They're loud, right? They're very loud with what they've been doing. But I feel like there's more people that are on the side of our fence, Ezra, that are saying the fight is close. Why not see it again? And I think you guys are using the wrong R word. You should be saying rematch instead of robbery, man. What do you think, Ezra?
I 100% agree that there should be a rematch. I'm really surprised that no one's bringing up rematch. It is just not a thing talked about. Everybody's just talking like if we saw this and it's just not going to see it again. And maybe there's a chance that happens, but every fight I see, people always say rematch. Like everything that I see that's a competitive fight, people are like rematch. Hell, people want to see Gervonta Tank Davis versus Isak Cruz again. I heard so much people say rematch on that fight and have not stopped saying it. But no one has said rematch after Loma Haney. I don't get it. It's very confusing to me. It's a fight that's going to sell massive because it has all the buzz that lead into it. Now, because I think this fight did better numbers than what people were expecting. I think it did a lot better because you could tell by the outrage out there that a lot of people were watching this fight. A lot of people, it didn't seem like it going in, but that crowd, the one thing about that crowd is they were there for like the first fight. It wasn't like a crowd that got there for the main event. That was a crowd that got there for the first fight. It was a good crowd, real lively crowd. And the buzz after, the casuals after talking about boxing and complaining about the scorecards and all that, this fight, if it goes again, people will be heavily anticipating for it. But I do want to say one thing, and I don't want to get too much into like, oh, the robbery and all that, but we do have to start almost like, you got on your channel, I got to do it on my channel. People have to do it now. We got to start educating fans on this stuff because just because a close fight doesn't go the way you scored it doesn't mean it's a robbery. And we got to stop accusing of every fight being a robbery.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, scoring in boxing is mostly good. And that's a thing that you're not going to hear from anyone. But it is. It's mostly good in boxing. That you do. In the same night that happened, Katie Taylor lost a scorecard in her hometown in a fight that was built around her, an event built around her with Conor McGregor putting money in to the thing with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom and all that, putting all this money behind her to a fighter named Chantel Cameron, who is not a well-known fighter, who is not going to go on to sell massive gates or pay-per-views or anything like that. She lost a decision in a close fight, in my opinion. This could have easily went her way, and you could have been like, little hometown. People would have said hometown cooking, but it would have been reasonable hometown cooking.
Right.
A guy like who's going to fight this weekend in Lopez, who beat Josh Warrington in Leeds, in the man's hometown. He's the only fighter that sells there. He beat him in there in a close competitive fight. So I keep hearing robbery, and it's just not as active. It's not as it doesn't happen as often as people want to make it out to be. It was a close fight. It was a fight that you had multiple swing rounds, in my opinion. I know, G4, you said you had one. I had multiple swing rounds, in my opinion. I
Mm-hmm.
had scored the fight for Lomachenko. I had him winning 7-5. I thought you could make a case that he won 8-4, right? But I thought you could also make the same case that Devin Haney won 7-5. It was that type of fight. So I can't get mad. And I'm, like people, it's funny because like some of the people I see complaining are like Canelo fans. And I'm like, oh, you're mad about a close decision? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about? And I'm a guy that defends Canelo's close decisions all the time because I'm like, hey, you know what I mean? But you can't say, oh, no, this is a robbery. Hell, close fights are close fights. And if you're going to be in the mind frame of, oh, everything that's a close fight's a robbery, you are not, there's no way to ever enjoy the sport because you're either mad that they're not making the fights or you're going to be mad when we actually get good fights and they're close fights and you're going to say it's a robbery after. You're torturing yourself. Don't do it. Because
Yeah.
it's not the thing. It's not the case. It's I'm tired of it. The one, and I don't want to go too long on a rant, but the one thing I'll describe it as is it's like if people watch Game of Thrones, right? People are just dedicated to the show Game of Thrones, and you got casuals, and they come in. They don't watch the whole show. They just come and watch season 3, episode 6. For some reason, season 3, episode 6, that's the episode everybody wants to watch. They go and watch that. They get pissed off after watching it. They say, "Oh, this is bullcrap. This is bad writing. This is a horrible ending." But they didn't watch the whole thing the whole time. They don't realize that that's the way the show goes. This is the way the story's been built. This is the way the characters have been maneuvering to get to this point. They get outraged. They're not going to watch the next 3 seasons. They'll come back maybe in season 6, episode 10, and get outraged again. That's what casual fans are. So you got to realize what you're taking with these people. But it's just this is not a robbery. Okay, it wasn't a robbery. It was a close fight, and the judges saw it the other way. That's all it is. I saw a guy and he was talking about the fight, and he said, Haney didn't do a damn thing in the fight. He's like, but I scored at 7-5 for Loma. Well, he wasn't just something 5 rounds. He
5
gave
rounds,
5 rounds.
yeah.
Yeah, so how the hell do you not do anything in the fight? I don't know. It's
Yeah.
frustrating, but that's what the whole robbery thing is so overblown. I'm just tired of it. And the thing is, it's funny because people are tired of it now. I've been tired about it for years. I've been preaching against this for years because this is what I hear every week.
Yep. I agree with a lot of what you said, man. Certainly. And I just feel like it's just weird, man, how, like you said, we want the fights, we scream for the fights, we get the fights, and then when it's a good, competitive, very close fight, we get the cries of robbery, man. And in my opinion, man, a robbery is something like when a fighter clearly wins 9 and above rounds, in my opinion. That's like literally a robbery. Like I remember watching Arislan Dilar beat Paul Williams probably 11 rounds to 1, and he didn't get the win on the decision at the end of the fight. Like that's a robbery. Like those type of fights are robbery, not close fights, man. Let me see what's up to some more people that showed up. Stefan here says Loma didn't put 7 definitive rounds in the bank. I mean, you can make that argument. Peter Von Arx is here. Yeah, Peter Von Arx is here. What's up, brother? Appreciate you guys for stopping by. Los Tres Chingones as well, man. Another channel right here. Guys, subscribe to this channel right here. Los Tres Chingones, really good channel. So robbery is way overused in boxing. I agree 100% with you, bro. And don't forget to subscribe to my man right here, right to my side, Ezra Boxing. You can see it right there on the screen. He's here on YouTube. Check him out, man. Comic Ozzy is here as well. He says, salute. GGG versus Canelo was a robbery. Yeah, I think you could call that robbery too. I know Ezra disagrees with me on that one.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, man. Boxing is very subjective, and another thing that's been annoying me too is what I've been hearing is you got to take it from the champ.
Oh,
if you
God.
want to beat him.
Oh,
and again, in a sport that is so subjective, you want to add more to make it more subjective? Like, come on, guys. That has nothing to do with the fight, okay? I'm sorry. Yes, the champion is the champion. We understand that. But at the end of the day, that's not in the scoring criteria, man.
Well, it's like this. It's like in the NFL, the Super Bowl champ the next year get up by 5 on everyone he plays just because he's the champ. And you're like, you got to really beat him. You got to really beat him. I don't understand what the hell that means. People just
don't see that here on the screen.
Yeah.
You don't see that here. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, the people just say things. They say things to excuse their decision that they're making. But the truth is, and I know you have this thing on the screen, and this is a part that me and you discussed before.
Yeah.
But you could just stop at the first one. That's all you have to stop at. I'm gonna tell you, if you want to really make it easy for yourself, you would say, I want to score fights, I want to know what I'm looking at. Stop at the first one. Clean punching. Whether you're moving backwards, forward, side to side, spinning around in a circle, if you're landing the more clean punches, you win the round. That's it. And you score it
9
round by
times out of
round.
10. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And people overcomplicate this thing. They overcomplicate it, and it doesn't need to be that. It just who's landing the cleaner shots. That's it.
Yeah, majority of the time, that's what people look at. I've seen some interviews with some judges, and they tend to value that over the rest of the criteria. Yeah, it's one of those things, man. I don't want to get too deep into it because this could literally go on for hours talking about the criteria.
Yeah.
Literally, maybe even days, depending on how much time you got.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, this whole thing, take it from the champ. Like, I'm sorry, man, I don't buy it. And I know there's some fighters that use that sometimes, but I think it's just, again, because if they're a champion, obviously they're gonna be like, well, you got to beat the fuck out of me to take my belt. You're not gonna get it on the judges. And I just don't agree with that, man.
Yeah, and you know what? And of course, because what everybody wants is an advantage. And if I have a belt, of course I want to lead going into it. Yes, of course, everyone wants that advantage. Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't seem fair to anyone besides the champion, I guess. But that, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Yep. And this fight here is a clear example of a razor thin fight. I mean, I've heard people say they've had up to like 5 swing rounds from what I've been hearing.
I think I'm around there.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot, man. So, yeah, you could definitely see it going to either guy. And I wouldn't be upset if Loma got or Haney got either way, because it was that close, man. Read a few comments here. Let's see. Brandon Rios versus Richard April. That was a robbery. Yeah, that definitely was a robbery. I remember that fight. Let's see here. Izzy says, in context of Haney versus Loma, the word robbery is a casual term. Yeah, I think so too, man. I had a lot of casuals hitting me up the night of the fight. Like, see, this is why I don't like boxing, And look, I understand, bro. And I'm in that category. The vast majority of fans think Lomachenko won. The vast majority of fighters, trainers think Lomachenko won. And that's exactly what I'm saying. Look, call for the rematch. Why not? Especially if the pay-per-view does well, does better than they expected. There's a good possibility it could happen again. It's already got a storyline written to it. People are upset with the decision. They felt Loma was robbed. I think they're going to watch it again, man. I really do. And again, look, I know Loma and his team have said, hey, we're going to protest or appeal the decision. Look, that's fine. Let them do that. Let them worry about that. That's their job. Our job is to move the fucking needle, And if you want justice, what better justice than to get it back in the ring? That's the way I look at it, man. Read some more comments here. Hawker Mustang, what's up, man? He says, it went how I actually predicted. I thought Loma would win a close fight and that they would give it to Haney anyway. I predicted close fight. I think I actually said split decision win for Loma. So I had a feeling that it was going to be all over the place, man. There was no robbery. It was extremely competitive. I agree. It's me, Pablo. Let's see what he says. He says, what up, G-Funky? A robbery? Nah, I did not have Loma winning 7-5. I'm not a fan of either. I just wanted to watch a good fight, but I think they should run it back. I agree 100%. Kamikaze says, if Devin wants to be the new Floyd, then he's got to give Loma a rematch. Floyd gave his closest opponents a rematch. I agree, but I'll say this. He's definitely not Floyd. I mean, Floyd at these weight classes was amazing, guys. I know a lot of you are young. You might not have seen him back then, but I watched Floyd's whole career, man. The guy was unbelievable at featherweight, super featherweight, lightweight. It wasn't until he got up to like around 140, 147 was when he became a little less offensive, But he was beating the piss out of these guys. I mean, if Haney was the next Floyd, he doesn't go 24 rounds with Kambosos. Kambosos doesn't even go 6 rounds with Floyd Mayweather at lightweight, in my opinion. I think he beats the crap out of him, man. Joe Lopez says, I'm willing to pay for the rematch. Overall, it was a good fight. You see, we've already got Uh, people say they're willing to pay for it.
You already got one sold. You already got one sold.
Yep. See, I figured Loma had to either stretch Haney or beat him from pillar to post to win in the U.S. Loma too small and too old. That's why I picked Haney. Let's see what you need says. I didn't think it was close, but it was competitive. Well, who'd you have winning? Let us know who you had winning. Let's see. Here we go. Haney was consistent with his body attack. Loma flurried in spots. Again, everybody's all over the place with what they saw in this fight, man. That's how I know it was a really close and competitive fight. But I want to ask you this too, man. You made a video earlier today that you put on Twitter. Now, for those of you that aren't on Twitter and don't follow Ezra, he's great on Twitter, guys. This guy is amazing on Twitter. Trust me, he's really good. And he's a good sport, man. I see people always making fun of him and whatnot. He doesn't take things personal.
You got to roll with it. Then you got to roll.
Yeah, he's great, man. He's great. But explain to the my subscribers that are here live right now and those that will watch it after. You talked about the effectiveness of punches that people talk about. Let's talk about that a little bit, man. Go ahead and let us know what you were talking about in that video.
It's almost impossible. It's almost impossible from watching from home or watching in the arena and not being in the ring and actually feeling the punches yourself to tell what punches hurt and which ones don't. Okay, it's almost impossible to tell what the effectiveness of a punch is. So when guys tell me, "Oh, well, that guy was hitting harder, so I scored it for him," how the hell would you know that unless you're feeling the shots? Now,
right.
And you might think, "Oh, well, you're just a guy talking." I have one pro fight. I'm 0-1. I'm not trying to say, "Oh, I'm something else." I'm not trying to say anything like that. But I have plenty years of experience sparring high-level guys, sparring low-level guys, sparring all sorts of styles and techniques and sizes and everything. And you would be surprised on the shots that really hurt, and you would be surprised on the shots that I did not feel anything on. I would get out the ring and they'd be like, "Hey, that guy hits really hard, huh?" And I'd be like, "No, he has nothing on his shots." And then I'd get out the ring and I'd be like, "That guy hits like an animal." And they'd be like, "It looks like he was barely touching you." You do not know what those shots feel like. If you try to assume what shots hurt and which ones don't, you will be lying to yourself. You will be wrong most of the time, and you just don't have a clue. It's a flaw if you're scoring fights that way, thinking, "Oh, well, that guy's hitting harder." You have no idea. And if you're gonna score fights like that, well, a guy like David Haney would be screwed because he doesn't have a lot of power.
He would never win a fight.
Yeah, he would never win a fight. And a guy like Triple G, who lands one jab, would win every fight because his shot probably hurts more than any shot the other guy's throwing. So you can't score fights like that. And you know what? The funny thing is, we never scored fights like that, ever. And that's a huge flaw that, like, I think has recently been introduced. That, oh, this guy hits harder and everything like that. You don't know. You don't know, and it's a flaw to think about. It's a flawed process, and that's why I'm seeing all these scores get all screwed up because people are thinking like that. And I thought that in that fight that I saw, the reason why some people weren't giving Loma credit because they were saying, "Oh, he was pitter-pattering shots," and that's BS. No, he was not. Now, he wasn't throwing shots with a full motion because he doesn't need to, because that's not his style. He doesn't need to do that. His technique, the way he does it, is he's very versatile with his legs, and he places his legs in a bunch of different positions to get a shot off. But that doesn't mean there ain't nothing on it. And want me to provide you proof that people don't know what the hell they're talking about. How many times do we see a guy get laid out on a stretcher and people say that shot didn't really land? He took a dive. And a guy got laid out on a stretcher. I've seen Ryan Garcia take one knee from Tank, and people told me that shot didn't really land on his body. So you're going to tell me that I've got to trust these people to tell me who's hitting hard in the ring? No. There's not a chance in hell I'll trust these people with that. Just score who's landing the most clean, effective shots. That's it. Who's landing the most clean, clear shots? That's who wins the fight. That's all you have to do. If you do anything where like, "Oh, look at that guy's really wounding up on that shot," doesn't matter. Now, if a guy obviously is visibly stumbling around the ring, he's visibly hurt or he's on survival mode, then of course that's the tell that shot really affected him. But that doesn't mean that there was a big wind-up shot. Because look at what Wilder hit Helenius with. Look at the shot that Wilder hit Helenius with. His feet weren't even on the ground. So people were telling me, "Oh, well, look at Loma wasn't even set to punch." Well, hell, Wilder knocked the guy out with one foot in the air and the other foot barely touching the ground. And he knocked him out going backwards. You do not know what shot's going to matter and what shot's going to end the night. So you can't judge it like that.
Yeah, I've always said that, man, that, people always say, well, this guy's landing the harder shots, so I'm giving him the round. But it's like, I didn't see, okay, if you say that, fighter A is landing the harder shots on fighter B. Yet I don't see fighter B hurt. I don't see him, wobbled. Like how do we know? There's no, like you said, there's really no way to know from someone watching, that's impossible to know unless again there's a knockdown or the guy's visibly
One of
shaken from the shot.
one
Go
of the
ahead.
funnier ones I heard was a guy was like, "Well, Loma had a good poker face." How the hell would you know if he has a poker face or not? That's what a good poker face is. It's that I don't know what the hell you have. So you're telling me you're not just reading that he's not hurt. You're reading that he's faking that he's not hurt. What kind of mind games is that? That's unbelievable. That's a psychic. If you could read
Right.
someone's poker face that he's actually hurt, but he's not showing any signs of it, oh my goodness, you are a psychic. You are in that man's mind. You are a clairvoyant. That's what you are. If you could do that,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous.
And I loved the body attack that Haney was
Oh,
doing
beautiful.
against Loma.
Yeah,
It was
beautiful.
great stuff, man. And again, those shots all count. They were clean, straight to Loma's body. But again, like for me, if they were hurting Loma, I think he would have been slowing down as the fight went on. But the opposite happened. The guy picked it up as the fight went on. So again, that tells me, yeah, those are scoring blows. But was he hurting? Like, can we legit say, man, he's hurting Loma with these bodies? No, we can't say that. We
Yeah, you can't
can't.
legit say that. You can't legit say
Yeah.
that. Unless a guy goes in complete survival mode. A guy hurt, right? Like Floyd
Mm-hmm.
Mayweather was hurt by Shane Mosley. No one has to question that. He was hurt in that fight. There's no questioning that thing. He was hurt and he had to hold on to survive. That's
Mm-hmm.
when you know a shot affects someone. But other
Yep.
than that, it's just a clean shot versus a clean shot. That's all it is.
Exactly. I've been saying that for years, bro. Like, I had I had a lot of people telling me that I was crazy because I felt like Lara beat Canelo, and all I kept hearing was all the body shots, man. They were hurting Lara, and I'm like, well, in the same sense, you guys are saying, well, he ran all night. So like, how could these body shots be hurting a guy, but he's running all night? Like
Yeah,
that's supposed to do the opposite. You
yeah.
attack a man's body all night long. Guess what? He ain't gonna be running rounds 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Like no, that's not how it works, man. He would have been slowing down. The legs would have been stiff. Uh, yeah. So it's impossible to say, oh, he's landing much harder shots. No, I can't roll with that, man.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the guy can punch with an open hand, and it sounds like a huge slap, and it
Yeah.
sounds like a hard shot, but it's open hand. It has nothing. It has nothing behind it. There's no weight to it. There's nothing. There's no knuckle on it, and that sounds like a loud shot. It happens in sparring all the time. You hear a guy slap on his arm, something like, "Oh, that's loud," but that's just a slap. That's all it is. There's no power behind it or anything. You could be deceived. It's not. There's
Yeah.
no perfect science on being able to see two guys fight and tell what shot's harder.
I agree, man. And I see some people in the chat asking about the Crawford and Spence. I mean, it's been reported by multiple sources out there in the media that it's official for July 29th. Um, I've done I checked with people that I know behind the scenes that are close to the situation. They're telling me, it's a go. So yeah, I think it's there, man. I think we should be expecting some sort of announcement or something from the fighters real soon, man. So yeah, that's that's all I can say right now, man. Okay, that's all I can say. The little bit of sources that I do have behind the scenes, I definitely checked with them first before I said anything. I mean, we all seen it fall apart before, so it could possibly happen, but I think this time it's real, man. So one more topic, and then we're going to open up the phone lines for anybody that wants to call in. I know I've had the number on the screen, but we just want to get our opinions off first, and then we'll go ahead and let you guys call in. But with all of the scorecards and people interpreting things and asserting things into how a score fight recently, especially with this fight, Ezra, and I want to ask you guys in the chat, do you guys think that open scoring would have been beneficial in a fight like this for both guys to know who's winning these rounds? Because there was tight rounds in this fight, man. So Ezra, the floor is yours, man. What do you think?
I think what you have in the scoring is a big problem, is an attention span problem. You have an attention span problem. If you see a 12-round fight, you see the first 6 rounds, and a lot of casuals do this, and a lot of people that don't really watch the sport, and just a lot of boxing fans do this because there's not a lot of people that really sit down and look to score a fight. You know what I mean? Some people just want to watch it and be entertained. They're not trying to sit down and write on a piece of paper and be like, oh, that's round this guy, this guy. They're not trying to do that. So what happens is it ends up on Phil. And when you end up on Phil, it's kind of like the last guy to do something must be the guy that won the fight. And in this fight, the people that are so pro that Loma won, it's because it ended with a big Loma momentum swing, right? It ended like that, and those people kind of forgot what happened in the first 6 rounds. So when it comes to open scoring, where I think it could be effective, I think I really thought about this. I think that my theory is you do it after the end of the 6th round. You do it one time at the end of the 6th round. That way you bookmark where the fight stands at that one point. Now, the reason why I decided the 6th round or the 5th round, if it's a 10th round fight, just the halfway point, is because whether the guy's up 6 rounds to none, right? The guy can't dance around the whole night because he could lose the next 6 rounds and then it'll end up being a draw.
Mm-hmm.
Or the other guy, there's not reason to really just give up because he still has a whole other half of the fight to go, right? To turn it around.
Yeah.
But at that point, you can at least bookmark, this is where we stand. So that way the people are not going to forget everything that happened. It's already bookmarked. We saved it. This is where we stand in the fight. Now going forward, the storyline can be built with this already in the background that you know the scores for the first half of the fight.
Yeah. And I know in the amateurs and in some tournaments that they do open scoring. Obviously, they put the scores up on the screen if you guys have ever watched like the Olympics or anything like that for the fans to see. But I know in some cases the corner knows. They tell them, hey, you're losing this round, or she won that round and she landed this many more punches according to the judges. Blah blah blah. I mean, obviously, we know that these type of events are all about production as well. And Top Rank does a tremendous job. Their production is top of the line, man. I was at the Stockton show with your man Johnny Beck was the main event, and dude, I'm telling you, man, the production is unbelievable with Top Rank. But
just not to interrupt you, but I do want to say that the production value for Haney Loma was the best that I've seen this year on that fight.
it was great.
It was amazing. Yeah, I thought it was amazing. I thought the lighting for the fight made it seem like a really important fight. The way the crowd with the camera angles and everything, I thought it was pretty good. I saw the Canelo one. It was interesting. They tried to make it look like a Creed movie with the camera, the way they did it. But this one I thought was the best so far.
Yeah, and anybody, again, the phone lines are open, guys. We're gonna be here for about another 30 minutes. Call in, man. Let us know what you guys think about any of these topics. Give us your opinion. And again, I'm not trying to argue with anybody about the scorecards. If you tell me who you had winning, and I'll accept it. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. Like, those days are over. But I will say this: I think that the corners should definitely know who's winning the fight and who isn't. If they don't want to recite it to the fans, like I know in some places they do it. I remember when Canelo fought Austin Trout in Texas, they did open scoring, and I believe they announced it to everyone after every 4 rounds. So we got it 3 times through the fight who was winning. I feel like in a razor tight fight like this, I feel it would have been beneficial for the corners to know what was going on, and we might have gotten more exciting work done from either guy, especially going into those championship rounds, but that's just my take, man. I feel like open scoring, I don't know, man. I feel like something definitely needs to change, man, or maybe just add something to the scoring, and open. I know there's a lot of people. I see some people in the chat. Joe Lopez here says he doesn't like open scoring. Let's see. He didn't need to look hurt or stunned. They were scoring. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go back up here. I seen a comment. Where was it? Pablo says, at any point did Loma look hurt or stunned? No, I didn't see him hurt at all in the fight. If anything, I seen Haney was looking really rattled in round 11. He's getting hit with a lot of big shots from Lomachenko. But credit to him, man. He was able to stay on his feet, not go down, and win the 12th round. I know Loma came out and said that he decided to, I don't know if he necessarily said give the round away or he felt like he had the fight already won. I just feel like he should have just really went for it, man. Poured it on, especially because he had Haney. Well, it looked like Haney was hurt to me in that 11th round. Let's see. Izzy here says open scoring would be fun. However, I would prefer same day weigh-ins and 15-round championship fights. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that too over the weekend. A lot of people calling for 15-round fights so that there won't be any more draws or anything like that with the even rounds like we have now. I mean, that's tough, man. 15 rounds is tough.
What's funny though for that is that people act like when there was 15 rounds that there wasn't any controversies in the scorecard. People act like people weren't like, hey, no, that guy won. You know what I mean? Like people don't really like that's been around forever. That 15 rounds ain't gonna change anything. It's not gonna be like, oh, all controversies are done now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe they're thinking because guys aren't used to doing it. I know guys go sometimes 15 plus rounds when they're sparring, training camp and stuff like that. But in a real fight, obviously it's different. So maybe they're thinking, hey, fights won't go to the cards if there's an extra 3 rounds, Let's see. Pablo here says, I know they were scoring punches, but Loma wasn't worried about taking them, or else at any point he would have started to feel the shots. He would have dropped his arms to protect his midsection. Well, no, I mean, I agree with that. Go ahead.
Yeah. But maybe he wasn't worried about taking them, but he should have been worried about the points that they were adding up. You know what I mean? So that's I don't care. I can take those shots so that you know you want. Okay, well, you better land more than he's landing because he's going to win the fight. It don't matter. You can take the shots if he's putting them on you. They still count. You know what I mean? It's still scoring. So that's a mistake. And Loma has never been good at blocking the body though. Even shots that do hurt him to the body, he's never been good at protecting his body. So I understand that didn't hurt him. Like I said, I'm not going to judge whether it hurts you or it doesn't. I'm just going to say that's a clean shot landed, and those shots were clean and they were landing.
Yep, and I mentioned that in my my breakdown of the fight, where I feel like if Haney could press forward a little bit, control Loma's guard with the jab, because it is difficult. I know there's a lot of people saying, "Well, where was his jab? His jab was gone." Well, it's kind of hard to land a jab if you're the orthodox fighter on a southpaw. Like it's kind of hard to do because the lead hands and feet are touching. But you can control your opponent's guard with that lead hand, and I feel like he did that a lot. And then sticking to the body. I was showing several clips of him doing that to Jojo Diaz, who was the last southpaw he had fought before Loma. And he did do a lot of that, man. I was surprised to see that. I did not think he was going to press forward because to me, Loma is not the same guy when he's forced to go backwards. Funkertees here says Loma did win the 12th round according to many cards. Kellerman, Kriegel, CompuBox, etc. Loma needed Haney to open up, and he wouldn't. So that's why he wasn't throwing at the end. He won it. I mean, I felt like Haney won that last fight. I know that the CompuBox had it close. I seen that. But that's a round I gave to Haney. And even though I watched it twice, I still gave it to Haney the second time. Did you give the 12th round to Haney, Ezra?
I gave it to Haney.
Yeah, I thought it was a Haney round too. I felt like Loma could have really put a stamp on it. I mean, I know according to the scorecards, he still wouldn't have won the fight. But, man, he would have even more of a case. You guys would have more of a case of a robbery, to say robbery, if he went out there and really put on a show in that 12th like he did in the 11th. Loma needed to fight in the 12th like it was the last 3 minutes of his life and try to repeat the 11th round, and he did it. No, I mean, it was still a competitive round, but I still had Haney winning it.
Yeah, so I know he said he took it off, but I think he was tired. Honestly, I think Loma was tired. I don't know if he had that next level, because if you remember in the 10th, he wins the 10th, but he throws in a spurt and he never throws again in that round. He's kind of just stares at Haney the whole time, remaining like to finish the round. So I think that he was feeling it. He threw a lot in the 11th. I think he thought maybe he could possibly get Haney out of there in the 11th or drop him at least. And I think he blew his load in that 11th round.
Yeah, I even seen some people. What do you think about this, man? And you guys in the chat as well, I want you to answer this question. There were some people, I'm not going to say who they were because I just can't remember. My memory is really bad these days, guys. I got dad brain. But I seen some people saying that, you could have possibly scored that 11th round 10-8 because Haney took a beating. And look, yes, it was a lopsided round. No doubt about it. But in my opinion, if a man stays on his feet the whole round, I don't give a shit how many punches he gets hit with. You can hit the motherfucker with 1,000 punches. Guess what? To me, he earned that 9. That 9 that he's going to get on the scorecard because he definitely lost the round. No, he earned it. He stayed on his feet. That's the way I see it, man. What about you?
I'm okay with the 10-8, but not for that round. I'm okay with 10-8. If you stay standing, but the ref's looking at you like he's going to stop it, then yeah, I'm like, okay, this guy had you close to being stopped. Then I'm okay with 10-8 at that point. But he didn't have him close to being stopped. He had him. He was given to him good. He maybe had hurt him, but it wasn't like, oh, he's almost out of there. It was just like he's losing this round pretty big. You know what I mean? But it was just a 10-9 round. I never in my mind did that even cross. That was a 10-8 round. It never in my mind. I think that's just kind of revisionist. Trying to figure out a way to get Loma more points.
Yeah, and I think, and I think everybody can agree that was the most dominant round of the fight from either fighter. That 11th round.
Yeah, I wanted to point out too because Devin Haney in versus Jojo Diaz, Leonaris, and now Lomachenko. The 10th and the 11th, he's been hurt. To me, and a lot of people say he wasn't hurt against Jojo Diaz. I think he was, but
I think he was too. Yeah,
I think he was hurt. But it's always in the 10th or 11th round. So that's always where his energy dips is those 2 rounds, and he always seems to bite down in the 12th to do something. But those 2 rounds are real 2 ones that he usually has a huge dip in energy in those 2 rounds.
Could be the weight cut, man.
It could be, or it just could be. It just could be because he fights really explosive. Everything he does is a lot of explosive movement, and it makes sense that you tire out at the end of the fight. But when you have only 3 minutes left, mentally you can get yourself up to really perform. When I got nothing, there's no round after this, so we can rest after. Maybe we can sleep after this.
Exactly, and Haney's 24 years old. That's what I'd be yelling in his face. You're fucking 24. God damn it, get out there.
Exactly.
Hawker Mustang says, I would like to see these guys make weight and then go in the ring an hour later.
Dear God.
That'd be tough.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with same day weigh-ins because it would make a lot of these guys that fight 2, maybe 3 weight classes below where they're at, fight where they're supposed to fight, man. And I know that, and I'm working on getting Margaret Goodman to come on because she's been a part of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, and she's done a lot of work. And I know that she was a part of moving the weigh-ins from the day before, from the day of, because of fighters' safety and health, and that's been their reason for having these 9 a.m. weigh-ins now, like we have with this fight, where you get 36 hours to rehydrate. Which is crazy in my opinion. It's like, geez, why even have a fucking weigh-in at that point, So I'm gonna get her on, man. Hopefully we could talk to her a little bit about that because I do think that, while I do agree that a hydrated fighter is gonna perform better and it's gonna be safer, especially taking punches to the head. But at the same time, I feel like we see a lot of times where guys who are professional that only have to cut maybe 10 pounds at the most, sometimes less, to make the weight. They go in there with a guy who's cutting 20, 30 pounds, and then boom, their punches. You could just see the size and the punches are just doing a lot more damage to the other guy, because they're just so much naturally bigger,
Yeah.
And is that safe?
Yeah, I get you.
See, so there's pros and cons with it, man. It's a thing. It's a thing that I definitely want to get her on to talk about it. Funker T says, likewise, it's hard for southpaws to land the jab. At the same time, both fighters and Loma out jabbed him. Yeah, he did. He did, according to the punch stats. He did outland him. Maybe if Loma got a couple of knockdowns in round 12, they would have robbed him. Oh, he's talking to Stefan in the chat. Let's see. Let's go down here. Tony Weeks would have stopped the fight.
Yeah, it's funny you said that because
you might have stopped it in the first.
Yeah, the people said that judging's the big problem in boxing, and it isn't. And I'll stand by that. I believe people always tell me it's corrupt, and Bob Arum was going to do the old Bob Arum special this weekend, and I did, and obviously that didn't happen, right? Because Devin Haney's a free agent, Lomachenko's the one he has locked in and put all his money into. So I keep hearing corruption, but the bigger problem in boxing is the reffing. The reffing is way worse than the judging. And that's the thing that no one talks about. Reffing is bad in boxing. It's horrible. You go to Texas and figure out those guys that are learning on the same day on the job. You know what I mean? the reffing situation there. So like, yeah, the reffing is horrible.
Yeah, and if you guys want to check out a good channel on YouTube, check out Ray Corona. He's got a channel. He's a referee here in California. Uh, he interviews all kinds of people. I think he had a judge on as well. He's had several referees. I believe Jack Reese. I believe he's had Tony Weeks on. He's had the main glove inspector of California on. I know 2 glove inspectors in California. They're very, very dear friends of mine. Great guys. I've seen them at the fights that I've been doing, that I've been showing up and covering for media. So yeah, a lot of information, man. I know it's not the back and forth shit that you guys like to hear, a lot of you. All right. But if you want to learn something about the rules and why they do certain things, subscribe to Ray Corona, man. Check him out. And I did an interview with him, so you can check out my interview with him as well. I'm looking to get him on once again in the future, because man, it was a great interview that I had with him. He says, yeah, I love Ray Corona. I found out about him from, oh, hey, right on, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, he's a cool guy, man. I talked to him behind the scenes before I set up the interview with him, and he's just like a regular guy, and he told me, he goes, look, I want to do these sort of things because I feel like fans really do need to be educated on the rules and why we do certain things and why we don't do certain things in the ring. Sometimes we agree, like Ezra said, sometimes we agree with what they do, sometimes we disagree.
Yeah.
But guys like Tony Weeks, yeah, he's past his prime, man. Way past it. He's, him, Kenny Bayless. I mean, Kenny Bayless in the 70s, bro. Like, why do we have this guy in his 70s out there reffing big fights, championship fights in Vegas, It just doesn't make sense to me, man. It just doesn't, man. I feel like they should have young, fresh guys. I know, what's his name, retired recently, Robert Byrd, who was, he's getting up there in age, got a lot of experience. But yeah, it's time to get some young blood in there, man. We saw Weeks. Bayless allowed Plant to hold 66 times against Benavidez in their fight. That was just awful to watch, man. Like, I didn't get your take on that, bro. What did you think about that, Ezra?
On the, what was it now? On
Benavidez Plant.
Yeah, he held a lot. I think that it kind of like it's funny to me because I don't remember a lot of fights where they take away points for holding. I probably can't even name enough to get five fingers up on fights that they take away points for holding. Mm-hmm. And I think it's kind of like we get outraged on it on some fights, and then some fights we don't, right? We just kind of put up with it. I'm if we're gonna take away points for holding, I'm all for it. I've always been for that because I feel like it kind of delays the action, of course. Then I want to see more action. Yeah. I don't want much less holding, but we got to be consistent with it. And some guys are really benefiting from holding, and they're winning fights. Devin Haney holds a lot. I mean, that's just the truth of it. He holds a lot in fights. And, we just got to be, as long as it's across the board, I'm good with it. But I didn't, like in the Plant fight, I just haven't seen enough fights where they took away points from it. So I can't say this one, we're going to suddenly start doing that. You know what I mean? I couldn't get to it. Everything has to be across the board for me. It can't be per fight basis. It has to be across the board. That's the way I prefer boxing to be more like that. Let's set one ring size. Let's set certain terms that are just across the board for everyone. I don't like this, per fight situation thing.
I'm going to look up a fight here real quick because that Plant fight, man, I was like annoyed like a motherfucker watching that because I can't stand when fighters hold like that, man.
Yeah.
It's just, it is ugly to watch, Yeah,
it's not fun. I'm with you. It's not fun to watch, but I just seen so many guys do it and benefit from it, and they were never warned or ever taken a point away from. So it's just like, why are we going to suffer? We're going to make Plant suffer because we want to see Benavidez get to work. You know what I mean? Like, to me, I was like, I can't. I can't really get behind it until they do it across the board.
Yep, until they become more consistent.
Yeah. Because I mean, this weekend, Haney held. He held for sure. And this weekend,
he didn't hold as much as I anticipated.
No.
He did hold some. Yeah,
he did hold. Yeah, and he held at key points. I was watching Duran Leonard, the first one. I mean, that reffing, it's almost a different sport. I mean, at that point, because they're holding on each other, but the ref's just smacking their hand down, and he's just letting it work. right?
Letting him work in the clinch. Yeah,
And the ref's
that's
almost in the clinch with him. I mean, he's ducking punches and stuff like that. He's right there in there with them. You go back and watch it; it's a complete different sport at that point. And that
yeah,
there's some of the techniques in there. These guys would have had no idea what the hell Duran's doing with his techniques on the holding and punching and stuff like that. It's just
mm-hmm.
it's unheard of. You know what I mean? So, that's what I'm saying. So, like, okay, maybe sometimes we don't need to break them up either. But hey, get your hand free. Get to work. Because if you let Benavidez
Yep.
work on the clinch, he might have started getting shots off. Do you know what I'm saying? If you're not so quick to break it up, he might start getting to work, and then that might solve your holding problem. Because then Plant's like, okay, well, I can't hold in there because he's getting stuff done. So I think the bigger problem is just how you're reffing it. Get them breaking it up right away is just a way out. It's just a timeout. Then you're allowing a timeout to happen.
Yep, and I agree with you, man. Like that's how that performance from Biggles was so bad because not only did he allow Plant to hold that many times, but he didn't. And like you said, he did not allow Benavidez to work in there.
Yeah, you gotta let him work then. Okay, you hold. That's your position. You chose that position. Now I'm gonna allow this man to work in a reasonable way. Then that will answer everybody's problem of like, I want to see more work done. Well, then we're about to see it. It's just a different position. You know what I mean? It's a lost art that we're losing because of the way they're kind of choosing to ref it.
Yeah, and I want to point this out. Earlier this year, back in March, early March, Mark Magsayo fought Brandon Figueroa. And Figueroa's a guy that likes to close the distance, get on the inside, and get to work for combinations. Magsayo is a guy that likes to stay at mid-range. He's a Filipino. He tries to mimic Manny Pacquiao a lot, stay mid-range, throw those fast flurries, and get out of the way. So I kind of anticipated when I was looking at the fight, thinking about it, I'm like, I think there's probably going to be some clinching because once Figueroa breaks distance, Magsayo's not good on the inside, So there was a lot of holding in that fight. Now, referee Thomas Taylor deducted 1 point. Well, actually deducted 2 points for holding in rounds 8 and 11 to Magsayo for holding. And I'll say this, I was glad that he did it because it was really starting to get on my nerves, the holding that Magsayo was doing. But then the fight got better. There was more action. And then we really seen that, Magsayo didn't have the tools to keep Figueroa at distance to work where he wanted to. And he had no choice but to try to work with him on the inside. But Figueroa is just a much better inside fighter than Magsayo.
Yeah.
And that's just one example that I can recall this year of someone getting points deducted for holding. But you're absolutely right, Ezra. These guys got to get more on top of that shit,
Yeah.
It's getting crazy.
We got to set a term on how we're going to ref it going forward.
Yeah. Hawker Mustang says that senators like Dianne Feinstein is an American politician serving as a senior United States senator from California. She's had the seat since 92 and she's 89 years. Yeah, come on. Keep your ass at home. What are we doing here? A lot of rabbit punching. Yeah, see, that's what happens when fighters hold. And that's why it's illegal. Because when you wrap a guy up so close and so tight, they don't have a legal target to punch. But you're also taking a chance because you reach out to grab someone, guess what? They could be in the middle of throwing a shot, and then boom, they hit you behind the head. They hit you in the back on the kidneys, shit like that. Like that's exactly why you don't do that shit. A clinch is something different.
I do want to. I think the one thing too, like with rabbit punches don't happen mid combination. So if we're throwing combination, I'm exchanging, and you get hit behind the back of the head. That's on you because you're positioning yourself to get hit. I'm throwing punches and aiming at you, and if you turn your head or whatever, that's on you. Now, what a rabbit punch is like you said, I'm in a clinch and I'm purposely hitting you in the back of the head. Well, then that's a rabbit punch. But I see a lot of guys like when Boots knocks someone out, knock the guy out, and then people are like, "Oh, that's a rabbit punch." Actually, no, it's not.
Ducking down.
Yeah, if you're ducking down and putting yourself in position to get in the back of the head, it's not illegal for me to hit you in the back of the head. Okay, you are putting yourself in that position to do that.
Andy Vance is a guy who I interviewed earlier this year before his fight in February. He actually, the fight he had was ruled a no contest because the guy claims that he hit him behind the head intentionally. Now, I seen the fight live when it was happening. He had somebody filming it from the crowd, and they aired it on his channel. It was a bullshit call because The guy was jabbing. He was coming out throwing a lot of jabs, and Andy was timing him. So he threw one jab, and Ezra, you know, what's the best punch when you're in a close stance? What's the best punch to counter someone's jab or to time it? It's the right hand.
Yeah.
Go over the top with your right hand. So he did that. The guy seen it coming, and he ducked
Turned his head.
below, and he hit him behind the ear. Yes, he did hit him behind the ear, but that's on him.
Yeah, that's on him.
And he went down holding the back of his head, act like he couldn't get up, and then
Let me
the referee called the fight off.
If I'm standing,
it was awful.
If I'm standing in front of you, and there's even a little bit of distance between us, it's almost impossible for me to hit you in the back of the head. It's almost impossible for me to aim to hit you in the back of the head. It takes me knowing you're going to turn your head a certain way for me to hit you in the back of the head. So there's no way you should say, oh, yeah, hit him in the back of the head. Well, it don't matter. If I'm punching at distance and you turn a certain way, that's on you. It is on you to put yourself in and not to put yourself in bad positions. Hell, that's why when you get punched with your chin up, you get knocked out cold. Because you put yourself in a bad position to get hit with your chin up. That's the thing. This is like, these are just like common things that I wish, you know, maybe this isn't something I'll do on my show. I don't know. But just common things where it's like rules that people bring up a lot. And you're like, no, that's not actually what the hell that is. It's very simple what that is. And it's easy to spot. And this right here is not it. And that sounds like Andy Vince's got screwed on that deal.
He did, man. And I believe they tried to appeal that decision. Now, see, guys, this is how hard it is to appeal a decision when boxing. It was so obvious that it was not intentional, right? Because that's the thing. Did he punch him intentionally behind the head to knock him out? No. He timed his jab. The guy slightly moved his head because he seen the punch coming, and he got clipped behind the ear and went down. Like, there's a difference between, again, a guy moving and then getting hit somewhere and intentionally hitting them there, you know? And it remained a no contest. And I was like, wow, I really thought they were going to overturn it because it was so obvious what happened. But no, he got screwed, man. And that's unfortunate, man. So that's why I think with Lomachenko and his team, look, I wish them the best in doing that. I just don't see it happening.
No, not even close. They could just send that to me, and then I'll just deny it over here and save them the time. Save them the postage on that.
Exactly. Save the time and the energy, you know. Just get it back in the rematch, man. That's what I'm saying. You know, guys feel like there's a lot of guys that feel strongly that Loma beat him decisively, and he got robbed. Then, hey, there shouldn't be no problem in the second fight. Then, you know, that's the way I look at it. And Hawker Munsinger says ducking below the waist is illegal and can cause yes, exactly. And not only that, it's a danger to your opponent too, because guess what? If I'm throwing a punch, you duck below the waist, I could hit you in the top of the fucking head and break my hand. You know, you don't present a legal target to your opponent, and that's exactly why it's illegal, man. And like Ezra said, the referees, they don't point this shit out too much, man, and that's a problem. It's a problem in my opinion. But guys, we're approaching that 1 hour mark. You know, I like to wrap it up around the 1 hour mark. It's getting late for us. Ezra and I are on the West Coast. We're 9 o'clock. I know a lot of you guys are in different time zones than us, so we definitely appreciate you guys joining us tonight on this late night tip. All right, but Ezra, I want to give you an opportunity to say whatever you want to say about any of the topics that we covered today, and let everybody know where they can find you, social media, and here on YouTube, man.
Okay, so on Twitter, right? You follow me on Twitter. You're gonna get two different vibes, right? On Twitter, you're gonna get Twitter's where I brainstorm. I just throw my wild ideas out there. I let it flow freely. But there is one very useful thing you could use me on Twitter for. I am the best boxing judge on boxing Twitter. Okay, it's not comparable. There's no one else doing it like me. And what I'm giving you is what the acceptable range is of a fight. So you don't have to be all angry after a fight and say, I can't believe that happened. Because I'll explain to you why it did happen and why it was possible that could happen. And you know what? I promise you, 95% of the time, I'm right there where the judges are. So you guys may say, oh, the judges suck and everything like that. Well, I'll explain to you exactly what the judges are thinking and why that happened. So on Boxing Twitter, follow me at EzRawBoxing. I'm very opinionated. I tweet all the time. And I have, like I said, if people make fun of me, I'll retweet. I don't care. I want to just give you entertainment. That's all this is. I want to provide knowledge and provide entertainment. And then follow me on YouTube. I do the Ezra walk and talk. I do the Ezra raw breakdowns, and I will break down all the big fights. I'll give you the strategy of what the fighter can actually use. One thing I see about people that do strategy is they say, "Oh, if this guy just does this, like what's Tim Bradley. It was Tim Bradley or Andre Ward, one of them. They did a Joe Joyce breakdown before the fight, and they said if he moves his head more, oh man, he'll be a really more effective fighter. It's like, yeah, if anyone fights like Floyd Mayweather more, they'll be a better fighter. Okay, you got to break down what they actually do. Okay, that's what I do. I'll break down what actually a fighter does and what he's capable of doing in a fight. That's what I break down. That's how I determine how the fight's going to look and what it's going to the outcome's going to be. Everyone should fight like Floyd Mayweather. So let me save you the hassle of the people that are going to try to correct all these fighters that have bad habits. This guy doesn't punch correctly. I don't know what the hell these people, telling people they get out of their mind with this thing. It's so simple. You just break down what the guy actually can do. And that's what I do. And I have the Ezra walk and talk where I just basically do what I'm doing now. I walk around my kitchen. I passionately argue to my phone by myself about boxing or give you my opinion of exactly what happened. So follow those things. I don't have the viewership that other people do that do these, angry rants where they just talk to, they do these things where it's just nonsense and they don't put no thought in what they do. Everything I do is put well thought into it. Okay. I'm like G Funky. G Funky doesn't get on here and just give you nonsense. Okay. He gives you something that's well thought out. It's well articulated to you. That's what I do. All day I think of boxing. And when I break down something perfectly the way I want to say it, that's when I provide you content. I'm not just on there talking to 8 local drunks after a fight and we're arguing nonsense. Okay. I'm not doing that. Okay. I'm not going to waste your time with that. I'm not going to waste my time with that. I want to give you the best information I could possibly give you from a guy that has experience. And let me tell you the experience I have is that I did box. And you know what I had that the other guys that box great careers had? They didn't suck. See, I could say I sucked. So I'm giving you the point of view of the guy that says I don't have the talent of these guys. It's really hard for Roy Jones to describe why a guy's losing because he didn't lose a lot in his career when he was in his prime. Okay, so he can't tell you what the hell that guy's feeling. What is he feeling right now, Roy? Hell, I wouldn't know. I'd be up 10 rounds right now. Me, I could tell you what he's mentally feeling to lose a fight. I could tell you what it mentally feels to be outclassed by someone in the ring. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to face high-level talent because I've sparred some of the best fighters in the world, and I've sparred very low-level fighters. So I have all this thing that I use to apply that I don't think really a lot of people can apply to the thing. So that's what I bring. That's my sales pitch. G-Funky, thank you for having me. I'll jump on this whenever. I enjoy the conversation.
Likewise, man. This guy, I'm telling you, man, you guys, if you're on Twitter and you're not following him, you will not be disappointed, man. He's really good. And he also gives his scores live as the fight's going on. So if you're one of those people that get on Twitter and check your phone in between rounds to see what everybody else is thinking, my man is here. He's giving his scorecard. He's a great follow, man. And again, check his channel out too as well here on YouTube, man. And yeah, man. Appreciate you coming on and appreciate all of you guys in the chat. This has been a good conversation. Hey, I'm excited. Spence and Crawford, finally here, man. You gonna go to Vegas, bro, or what?
I since I had my baby, I don't leave my house. But I will definitely watch it on TV. I will definitely be watching it and live tweeting while watching it on TV.
Oh, you just had a baby recently?
I have a little girl. I didn't just have her. She's gonna be 2. But since I've had her, I've not left the house. I don't leave like a 10-foot perimeter of my house, a 10-mile perimeter of my house, and that's the way I keep it. I keep life very simple. That's what I try to do.
I'm right there with you, man. My daughter just turned 14 months. So
you're right there. Yeah, you're right there with me. Yeah. You're right there.
I'm right there with you, man. So I have been getting out a little bit though. Been doing these fights, going out and covering them in person and stuff, and getting interviews, and it's been great. Been enjoying it. More of that to come, guys. Trust me, more of that to come.
Yeah. I really want to see you get just blow up way more. I don't think people realize the gem that you are. The covering boxing. I really enjoy your page, and I wouldn't come on this thing if I didn't enjoy your page. There's a lot of people that ask me to go on things, and sometimes I don't do it just because I'm like I don't really enjoy this content. I enjoy your content. I really look forward to talking to you and you just hearing your opinions on stuff. I think it's like I said, it's well thought out. A lot of people get on here and they just talk nonsense. They can do that. If you want to listen to that, that's on you. I can't do it.
Right. No, I'm the same way, man. So. Guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. And again, give my guy a follow on Twitter and also here on YouTube, guys. If you look at it's just exactly how it is on the screen right now. That's exactly what his channel is right there. Check him out, man. So, yeah, guys, we're going to end it. See you guys at big fights this weekend, too. A lot of fights over in the UK. I mean, we are stacked. this
Great
week. So
weekend for 126 pounds. Great weekend for 126 pounds.
Oh yeah, featherweight is probably my favorite division right now. Man.
It's a great
stacked.
division. It is
Yep, and we're getting a lot of movement. So good stuff, man. But we'll see you guys on the next one, man. We're gonna end it. Thank you all so much. We are out of here.